Hello and welcome to week 3 of the Overwatch season. Today, the Bobcats will be taking on Linn Marr. Here's the starting lineup for the Bobcats. We have the damage dealer Sam playing. Stepping in for a sick usual starter, we have Peyton, who'll be playing support. He usually plays just the last game of the series, but he gets the start today. Chow Tai joining Sam, doing some damage. And then the twins, Dylan and Ryder Ambrose. Thank you to our sponsors before we get started.
I think these guys weigh more than 190 pounds.
This may be a team that will give you guys a little bit of money as well, maybe give you more of a pushback.
The Bobcats come into this match 2-0 after defeating Davenport Central and Davenport North in the first 2 weeks, and both those games rather handily, 3-0s, both of them. That lands them tied for first in Class 1 Division 2 with Cedar Rapids, Washington, East High, and Kennedy. 2 of those teams coming up on the Bobcat schedule in January. Linn Marr comes into the game 0-2. They dropped 0-3 to Kennedy in week 1, and then they had a nail-biter last week against East High, losing 2-3. Typically in Iowa esports, Linn Marr is known as one of the more dominant teams across all the games that are played. But currently sitting at 0-2, but it's still very young season happening here, so they have plenty of time to figure things out and get back to their typical ways. Game 1 will start here in just a moment. As we're getting ready here, just a reminder that Overwatch is played as best of 5, so it'll be the first team to win 3 games claims victory. The Bobcats have managed to do that in both their past 2 games, winning the first 3 and not needing any other games after that. The first map that we'll see here in just a minute is Control, and it'll be at Lijiang Tower.
Now arriving at Lijiang Tower.
And here we go with game 1. Control map. First part here is Lijiang Tower. Both teams will battle over this control area inside this little temple. Up in the scoreboard, you can see Marshalltown will be the purplish pink team, and Linn Marr will be the yellow team. 2 teams will fight over this. Once they gain control of it, those percentages on the top will tick up. When a team reaches 100%, they win the round. Winning 2 rounds grants you a game victory. So Marshalltown will be approaching from the left side here, Linn Marr from the right. You can see the comps there for the Bobcats there. Sam playing his Reaper, as he has found a lot of success with that in the first 2 matches of the season so far, amassing across 2 games 153 eliminations to lead the team. So he has been very effective there, as we already see some shots being exchanged here. Both teams making their way towards point. Marshalltown first to reach it, but doesn't unlock just yet. see both teams just kind of hanging out in the doorways there, trying to get a push on it. Sam gets the first elimination of the game on the Linn Marr Reinhardt, taking out the tank first. Dylan at the back there, keeping everybody well supported. Here's Ryder. Ryder playing Doomfist, who's very much an in-your-face kind of tank. The Bobcats looking like they're trying to cap the point and then meet Linn Marr a little bit further out. Sam waiting around the corner, catches enemy Reinhardt off guard, gets him in the corner, and not quite able to get the elimination there, but does cause them to have to back off a little bit. Sam with the ult, popping it right in the middle of them, not quite able to get an elimination there. Gets eliminated himself, or he does get one elimination, but he manages to split the Linn Marr team, kind of staving off that push, at least for the moment. Here's Peyton. Really struggling as Linn Marr makes a great push on the point and is able to get the cap, as most, if not all, of the Bobcats are wiped out there. So Linn Marr on point here. Bobcats able to get it all the way up to 62% there. Now they will have to try to push on to point. Just kind of testing the waters at the moment, looking like they might try that. A good ult lands. In comes the damage doers, and 3 Linn Marr players eliminated. Trying to work on that tank, and does finally go down, as the Bobcats will once again cap the point after Linn Marr able to amass 35% there. So a good counter attack there for the Bobcats. And here comes Linn Marr again. In they come, all 5 at once. Pushing the Bobcats off point a little bit there, getting 1 elimination. Kind of an even fight right now on the point. Kind of trading eliminations. A great ult by Ryder Ambrose there. Able to keep the point in Marshalltown's hands and secure the objective. That was a very timely ult by Ryder. A great play to round out round 1 for the Bobcats.
1-0. Ready for battle.
Ryder typically playing the tank, and he does a very good job of mitigating a lot of damage. Has 60 eliminations on the year and 17 assists. But yeah, he does a really good job of leading the charge into those sort of tight areas there. And that was another example there. He came down right on point just as it was looking like the tide was turning towards Linn Marr to swing it back in Marshalltown favor.
1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
So here we go with round 2, capturing a new objective here. With Linn Marr and Marshalltown approaching point here. Orb of Discord goes flying across the map here. Both teams are sort of not wanting to push onto point just yet, really, because it doesn't unlock for another 3 seconds. And there's a lot of open space there.
The objective is now
Both teams not giving a lot of ground here. Chow able to get an elimination. Sam taken out by the Linn Marr Reinhardt there. And Linn Marr almost captured the point there, but wasn't quite able to finish it off, as Marshalltown will capture it first, and their percentage will start ticking up. Looks like Linn Marr trying to approach from the top. Able to push on the point. Kind of push Marshalltown off for just a little bit as it's the point is being contested. A lot going on right now as Sam does go down, but Chow able to get an elimination from Marshalltown here. And the point goes into Linn Marr's hand. Sunni rush there from Peyton. Aids in an elimination, a few eliminations there. Chow Tai really putting in some work. As most, if not all, of the Linn Marr players get eliminated there, and the point goes back to Marshalltown. As you can see at the top there, those little check marks next to the player portraits means that their ult is ready, and there's a lot of ults available here, so be expecting to see some of those get popped here by both teams, but Linn Marr especially. Chow in there continuing to do work and just kind of mow through Linn Marr players. Just continues to hack and slash his way there, as the entire Linn Marr team does get eliminated. Marshalltown had to come way off the point to accomplish that, but no harm, no foul there. That percentage continues to tick up in Marshalltown's favor here, approaching 90%, so Linn Marr 16. Looks like they'll have about one more push here, and a few ults to use. There's a couple. Both teams trade eliminations, 2-2. Another one in favor of Marshalltown. They just got to get that Mayoff point, and that will do it for round 2. So game 1 will go to the Bobcats. Good first round here. Play the game, of course, goes to Chow. Likely in this round 2, as we'll see here in just a second. Yeah, he just wipes through the enemy team. Ending with 4 eliminations. Is he going to get here? 4 and then an assist. So, yeah, Chow well deserved there. So, the Bobcats will take round 1.
Next map is
Thanks again to our sponsors while we got a second here. Sounds like we'll have a few changes for Linn Marr. Marshalltown will be keeping their same 5 as we go into the second map, which will be a push map on New Queen Street. So both teams kind of strategizing how they want to switch their comps, thinking about how to counter the other team's best players that were revealed in round 1. This is the last match of 2013 for the Overwatch team. They are back in action in January, where they will continue with the second half of the season, starting off with Kennedy and then East High after that. Those will be 2 really good games from a couple teams in the top half of the division at the moment. And then they'll round out the last couple weeks with Bettendorf and Burlington before the postseason begins. Looks like the substitutions have been made. And game 2 will start here in just a couple of moments. Game 2 is a push map. New Queen Street here, very appropriate winter theme. Push is very much like a tug of war, pushing this robot or escorting it further into the enemy side. Whichever team can get it the furthest distance in the time allotted or make it all the way to the end will take victory in game 2. This is a very fun game mode because it's really never over until the very, very last moment. Even if a team appears to be in control, just takes one good push and momentum swings the other direction, and then before you know it, the other team ends up pulling out the victory.
1. Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
So different map means different lineups, different strategies here. Sam sticking with his favorite Reaper. Looks like Marshalltown very quickly, the first ones to the robot here. Robot will start moving for another 10 seconds. Both teams opting for a Ramatra as the tank. Peyton trying out Lucio. The robot is free to move now. So we'll see how this goes. Ryder gets right up in to Linn Marr's business there, trying to keep them off. Sam gets an elimination there. Peyton adds on. Sam with another one. And that will cause the remaining Linn Marr players to fall back, as Marshalltown will be a little free to escort the robot. Marshalltown leave behind just one support player to escort that robot, while the rest of them try to meet Linn Marr a little bit further up. A little bit of a flank there by Creed. Not much happens of it though. Chow Tai gets eliminated. Ooh, a nicely timed ult there by Chow does lead to a few eliminations for Sam and Dylan. Oh, sounds like there might be some technical difficulties on the Marshalltown side. Never a good thing there. So at least for the moment, Marshalltown will be playing 4-on-5, hoping to get that rectified as soon as possible. They do have a little bit of a lead here in the robot, but Marshalltown is forced to retreat a little bit. Ooh, there we go. The game does get paused here as Sam's Overwatch just crashed. And it actually looks like his entire computer just kind of crashed. And on top of just the game crash, computer crash, it's also forcing an update as well. So kind of the whole, if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong, but hopefully it won't be a long delay here. But we will take just a quick break and thank our sponsors one more time. Looks like Sam's computer is done updating, and he is
You guys can unpause it, just wait.
joining the game back up here.
Oh my god, look. My All-Star is gonna be on anyway.
So, do you want me to hover on speed?
When we last left off, Marshalltown was able to move the robot to the checkpoint there and get 61.13 total distance. But Linn Marr was in control and pushing the robot back towards the neutral and then to their side. But as you can kind of see on the screen, there's a couple of Marshalltown players in the way there, so we'll see what happens with this.
Should I say when I'm gonna unpause or just unpause?
Just say, unpausing now. Just to say it right now.
And here we are back, like nothing ever happened. The robot moves back towards neutral here. There's a little bit of a skirmish. All players back in action now. As the robot does take its first few steps into Marshalltown territory here. A few ults and a little bit of a back flank here by Marshalltown. Kind of pushes Linn Marr off of the robot. And Sam, thankful to be back in the match, gets a few eliminations there. Oh. Sam's video capture not working. We'll get that adjusted between games here. Here's Ryder, the tank for the team. Linn Marr taking the high ground here. As the Linn Marr Ash pops out her ult. Sam, once again, a couple of eliminations to his name. Marshalltown adding more distance, pushing up this hill here, and then the end will be in sight. A nice ult from Sam there as he gets the whole team wiped. Robot approaching the very end here. Linn Marr will have to jump and start contesting here. An ult popped by Chow, who's been relatively quiet this round. A lot of ults being popped here in a last-ditch effort. The robot does move back off the barrier just a little bit. Both teams really putting up pretty good effort here right at the end. A couple of eliminations for Linn Marr will force Marshalltown to have to fall back a little bit. And the robot marches back towards center. But Marshalltown very, very close to the end there. You can see at the top just a tiny little bit left for them to move. Linn Marr registering its first movable distance of the match, but still a lot of time here. 4 minutes still to play. A lot going on right behind the robot there. 3 eliminations for Marshalltown, a 4th now. But they did lose a couple of players in the process, as Linn Marr still has 1 more player hanging out, causing a little bit of a headache there, but back in control. Marshalltown waiting to regroup here and try and make one final push. Meanwhile, Linn Marr regrouping. Just kind of a little bit of skirmish in this hallway. Both teams kind of waiting. This next little skirmish here could be very important. Bastion ult doesn't reap any fruit in this case for Linn Marr, as all players are now back, so we'll see what happens here. Linn Marr Ramantra pops his ult. You can see every single player from Marshalltown does have their ult right now, and they're all still in the game. Looks like they might be luring Linn Marr. There goes one ult from Marshalltown. Not able to really do much with that one. So 3 ults get popped there, resulting in 2 eliminations, and the robot back in Marshalltown's hands. Under 2 minutes to play. A little bit of back and forth there. No eliminations coming for either side at the moment. Clock continues to tick down in favor of Marshalltown, who does hold the distance lead. A lot of tiny little skirmishes going on all over the place. Linn Marr able to get a few eliminations, and they regain control of the robots. 4 players lost there from Marshalltown. Linn Marr does have their work cut out for him here, though. But they do have the robot, and they have all 5.
This ends now.
Increasing their distance now. Trying to, at the very, very least, match Marshalltown's. Dylan in the mix here. Doing his best to keep his team in decent shape while still trying to cause damage as Lifeweaver. His brother Ryder trying to mitigate some of that damage. And that scrimmage results in 3 Linn Marr players being eliminated there. So it looks like this one will lead to a time expiration here as soon as that's Marshalltown clears the Linn Marr player off of it, and they will take victory in game 2. Sam with the play of the game here. A team kill a few minutes ago. Pops a nice ult, manages to get 4, left with only the Ramantra, but then he goes and finishes it off. So game 2 victory gives Marshalltown the 2-0 lead heading into the 3rd map. And we're back for game 3. It's an escort map at Route 66. In this mode, both teams get a chance to push this cart as far as they possibly can or to the end. One team starts on attack, another one defends. Then they switch sides. Whichever team gets it the further or gets it there the fastest takes victory here. Bobcats currently have the game lead 2-0, so they just need to win this one more, and they will win the match. But neither of the first 2 games have been a blowout by any means. Linn Marr showing plenty of ability here. Looks like the Bobcats will be on defense first, as they are the purple team on the scoreboard up above, and Linn Marr the yellow team. Looks like Marshalltown setting up way up high. Trying to be a little bit of a nuisance right from the get-go here. As we are off.
Stop the payload.
So after a couple of initial annoying little shots there, Marshalltown fall back to on top of the first little choke point here. It's running a little bit of distance, never a problem in these maps. So you can see them all staying on top of there, trying to do their best to make it as difficult as possible for Linn Marr to move the cart any further past this little curve in the area right in front of that gas station. There's Chow's perspective. Chow had a very quiet game too. Still was plenty helpful with his team there, as the first elimination of the match goes to Linn Marr, getting rid of Chow. Sam gets the first elimination for Marshalltown. Both teams pretty well spread out here. This first part of the route is very difficult, as the defending team has a clear view of the entire route and able to really pick on the attacking team here. But Linn Marr actually doing a really good job of getting up there and taking it to Marshalltown and slowly pushing that cart. You can see moving across the bottom screen there, as they're able to get a couple more eliminations on Marshalltown. And it looks like Linn Marr will be able to push the cart to the first checkpoint. Marr continuing to push the cart, as Marshalltown struggling to find a little bit of footing here to put up any sort of solid defense as yet, but still a lot to play here. A couple of ults happening here now. Trading eliminations now. Linn Marr able to get another one, eliminating Ryder there. Marshalltown tank. It's hard to put up a good defense if you don't have a tank there taking a lot of damage for you. So the remaining Marshalltown players just trying to stay alive here at the moment. Get back to another choke point. Live to see another day. Chow playing as Farah. Doing his best to be elusive, but he does get taken out by the Linn Marr May. So the second check part now for Linn Marr. We got about 4.5 minutes to push it just a little bit further here. But this next section here is a little bit more difficult. Even more of a choke. as you progress through each section here. Nice ult there by Peyton, leads to one elimination for Marshalltown. Sam able to get another one. It looks like Marshalltown finally able to turn Linn Marr on their heels a little bit here. A nice counter ult. Gives Marshalltown a little bit of breathing room, or Linn Marr a little bit of breathing room to really come in and sweep up the Marshalltown players. Halo continues to progress. Marshalltown probably have time for at least one more defense here. Ryder in there, trying to be a distraction while his teammates continue to get eliminated. It looks like the payload. Sam popping in there, popping his ult, doing everything he can to contest that, but it won't quite be enough. Oh, yes, yeah, it won't quite be enough. Very, very close there, right at the end. But Linn Marr does achieve moving the payload completely to the end there, getting all 3 checkpoints, and they did it with 2:58 remaining. So now Marshalltown will have to match that. They will have to move the payload all the way to the end, and ideally they'll do it a little bit quicker. So when we go to overtime, they'll have a little bit of an easier time. Seemed like Linn Marr had a really good plan there, and they were able to execute it and counter a lot of what Marshalltown was trying to do. See what the strategy is here for the defense for Linn Marr. Looks like they also have no issue giving up that little bit of beginning round.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
And then Marr Winston jumps in there right on top of the payload, making sure no Marshalltown players think about trying to push that. So both teams just kind of feeling each other out here in the early part. Cart does move a little bit. As a couple of Marshalltown players get eliminated here. That way able to get an elimination on the Linn Marr May. As the cart, you can see, kind of creeping backwards a little bit. Making it a little bit more difficult for Marshalltown. All players back now. Both teams. There's an elimination for Ryder. Then Marr Tank able to get elimination off on Sam. As eliminations are traded there. Linn Marr Hanzo able to get a couple eliminations there. One off the ult and then another one as a little bit of a cleanup job. Marshalltown able to get that cart up a little ways close to the first checkpoint there, but starting to move backwards a little bit. Nope there from Chow Tai. Nothing comes of it. Linn Marr players able to dodge that as it's very slow moving. And it's a very wide open space, so there's plenty of room to run away. Time approaching about 1 minute for Marshalltown to reach that first checkpoint. Suni there from Peyton. But a couple of eliminations for Linn Marr is going to make it difficult to make a push here. Ryder, Sam, and Dylan doing everything they can to at least keep this contested, but not quite going to happen this time. So Marshalltown will have to hurry. Get back on the cart here and try to progress to the first payload. As you can see, we're under 20 seconds. Gonna have to make a move soon. Elimination for Chow. As Marshalltown is contesting the cart, so as that time expires, we'll go to overtime. An ult on the cart pushes Marshalltown off, but they are quickly back on. Couple of eliminations for Linn Marr. Winston takes out the support players for Marshalltown, which means there won't be a lot of healing, helping out the Bobcats here. Couple of Bobcats just hanging onto the cart, and that will... Oh, just as I say that, Dylan Ambrose comes hopping onto the cart, keeping it going. But that will do it there. So game 2 goes to Linn Marr. Play of the game goes to Linn Marr Hanzo. Quite the gamer tag there. Few eliminations. That is the first game that Marshalltown has lost this year. It's bound to happen at some point, so it's a good learning experience. It'll be interesting to see how the Bobcats respond as we will go to the fourth game. As the team strategize and whatnot, we will thank our sponsors one more time.
Initiating match.
We'll head into game 4 here. The pep talks have been done. Just waiting on one more player here. And we'll get underway with game 4. First game for the year for the Bobcats. It'll be a hybrid at Numbani. And don't forget that the Overwatch team will be back in action on January 9th when they will take on Cedar Rapids Kennedy. Should be a good match there. And we have a pretty good match going on right now, too, as the Bobcats lead 2-1. Just looking for that one more game victory to claim the match. Linn Marr made a couple of changes there between game 2 and 3, and it really seemed to pay off for them. Bobcats struggled a little bit there with that escort map, as they didn't quite make it to the first checkpoint. This hybrid map is kind of a combination of control and escort, as the two teams will fight over the point to begin with. And then whoever unlocks and fully controls the point then has to escort the payload as far as they possibly can. Looks like a Linn Marr player also lost connection. So that'll stall us just a little bit longer. And we are back for game 4.
I'm gonna say you could do like Diva would work, Doomfist would work. You could do Ramatra. You just have to stay on the high ground. Just don't ignore it. I'm gonna say this flat out. Not go into
Bobcats still looking for that game 3 victory. Claim victory in the match. Linn Marr certainly not going away here. Both teams rushing to the point here. Linn Marr will be on attack first here. First they have to try to capture the cart, and then they move the cart as far as they possibly can. They seem to do pretty well with the other game mode involving the cart, so we'll see how they do here. Marshalltown mixing up their composition a little bit more than usual. Trying some things out. As Chow Tai will get the first elimination for the Bobcats, taking out the Linn Marr Winston. No tank. Makes it hard to push on to point here. Linn Marr Hanzo kind of sneaking up there a little bit, trying to get some headshots on some unsuspected Bobcat players. Looks like all the Linn Marr players are back now. Trying to push on to point again. Marshalltown doing everything they can, trying to keep them away from the payload. Another elimination there for Chow Tai. But Linn Marr Hanzo gets elimination, but it gets Hanzo'd himself. As 3 Linn Marr players go down at the exchange of 1 Marshalltown player. Approaching the 2-minute mark here. Linn Marr still yet to get on point. And mix up their strategy here a little bit, as they were close to breaking through there, that last push, but not quite. Marr Winston once again hops up top there, trying to take out a couple Marshalltown support players. Tank on tank there on top. Somebody is capping for Linn Marr, but gets pushed off. That progress does get saved for a little while though, as there's a few players now for Linn Marr approaching the cart. There's elimination on one of the Marshalltown support players. Peyton goes down. Chow Tai as well. And it looks as though Linn Marr will capture the cart and start pushing it.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
So now changing up strategies here a little bit. No longer defending a point, but now trying to stop the progress of a cart. Nice defense going on here by Marshalltown, just around the corner here. An ult from the Linn Marr Hanzo. Does not result in an elimination in itself, but leads to a couple of eliminations by May. As both teams kind of trading eliminations as the cart continues to progress for Linn Marr. Chow Tai with another nice elimination. He'll pop his ults right over the cart there. Get Linn Marr off of it for a little bit. No eliminations for it. So the cart is approaching the first checkpoint, very much like the last map, where once it's there, they will be rewarded with a little bit more time to progress through the second half of the course. Difficult choke point coming up here now. Defense. Ryder Ambrose leading the charge there. So he gets an elimination on the Linn Marr Hanzo. A couple of other Linn Marr players quite low, but no other eliminations at the moment coming from it, as the Bobcats force Linn Marr off of the payload for the moment. decide to play a little bit conservatively here, keeping the choke in this corner. An ult popped by Linn May doesn't result in any eliminations. Ooh, Sam Bennett with a few eliminations there thanks to his Riptire ult. That will definitely push Linn back a little ways. Once again approaching that 2-minute mark for defense. And here comes another push. Looks like Marr taking the low road here. Marshalltown kind of playing on the high road as it's a little bit more of a sneaky route, but Marr Winston just kind of charging through the lines there, getting a lot of attention from the Marshalltown players. Meanwhile, his team able to move the card up a little bit. Ult from the Linn Hanzo there forces Marshalltown to back off a little bit as the end is in sight here for this first round. Both ults happening now for Marshalltown, trying everything they can to keep Linn from pushing this cart any further. Sam Bennett with a couple more eliminations, few more eliminations. As we are right close to 1 minute left for this defense. Linn are gonna have to hustle back to the cart. Try and push it just a little bit further. As it slowly creeps backwards a little bit to help out the Bobcats. And here we go. One more push here. Couple of ults being popped by Linn. Nothing quite happening yet. In fact, Marshalltown able to kind of shift the momentum there and take out a few Linn players. That's Linn Winston continues to be an issue as he gets his ult and goes after Dylan Ambrose. As we are in overtime for this round, if Marshalltown can get all Linn players off the cart, they will have their mark they have to beat. If Linn can get back and continue to push like they are right now, make it more difficult for Marshalltown coming up in the next round. Linn doing everything they possibly can do just to keep somebody on the cart there. As Sam Bennett goes down, that's a huge loss right now. When he comes back, he will have his ult, which could be very important. Linn Winston switched over to Wrecking Ball. As all heck is just kind of broken loose here. Sam Bennett comes roaring in there with his Riptire, able to get 2 eliminations, but there's still 2 Linn players on it. Ults being popped everywhere. Both teams not yielding ground. Marshalltown getting a few eliminations, seeming to have the upper hand here, but there just always seems to be a Linn player on the cart. Both teams not wanting to surrender anything in this round, and there it goes. So quite an eventful last 30 seconds there. But round 1 completed. So Linn was able to get 2 checkpoints and move it 62.98 meters. So the mark is there now. Marshalltown will have to, at the very least, match that distance or move it all the way to the end. Very exciting round 1 there. Marshalltown did a great job of defending the initial payload, and then they kind of gave up a little bit of space there, but really kind of dug in there at the last moment. Kept Linn from progressing the payload all the way to the end. So now they know what they have to do. We'll see what they're able to do here. So it looks like for attack here, Marshalltown switching up their composition quite a bit with Sam going back to his favorite Reaper, which he's been very successful with. Xiao Tai going over to Genji. Dylan trying out Baptiste here.
3, 2, 1. Attack.
And just see what this combo can do.
Defend objective A.
Looks like Linn Marr sticking with some of their tried and true characters, switching out just a couple. Which makes sense when you swap from attacking to defending. Some characters a little bit better at attack, some a little bit better at defense. Looks like Marshalltown trying to go around the left side here. Linn Marr responding and moving their entire team over there. So it's all going down in this one little hallway right here. A couple of players pretty low. There's an elimination by Ryder Ambrose. And Chow adds another one. Sam adding one. Everybody's getting involved as a couple of Marshalltown players sneak off and get a little progress done on capturing the payload. And Sam and Chow will clean up the last two remaining players. So Marshalltown kind of quickly takes control of the payload there. And we'll have just under 5.5 minutes to get to the first checkpoint, where they will get a little bit more time back before moving on to the final stage. Right around this corner, usually a pretty good choke point for the defenders. Couple of hero switches here for Linn Marr. Sam with elimination, another one to go with it. Ryder adds another one, and another one. And 4 of the Linn Marr players are down. Very solid attack there. First checkpoint has been achieved, giving Marshalltown a little bit more time to deal with here. You'll remember Linn Marr had a little bit of difficulty moving the payload past this overpass. See what Marshalltown can do with it. An ult from the enemy Hanzo does get an elimination on Xiao Tai, but Sam kind of evening the score there. Bastion ult incoming for Linn Marr. Does not get any eliminations on players. Peyton pops an ult and it gets a few eliminations. Not something you see too often from a support player, but he does it. Payload getting very, very close to the mark. It has to beat. Unless the Linn Marr player able to just touch point and stall a little bit. Kiriko able to get there, but then has to back off. And just like that, it is over. After a pretty eventful round 1, round 2 goes a little bit easier for the Bobcats. Play of the game here goes to Sam, playing Junkrat there in round 1. Getting one elimination there all by himself before sending in his Riptire ult and getting 3 at once. So the Bobcats take the match, winning 3-1. Moving to 3-0 on the season. Great game for the Bobcats going into Christmas break, as they do not have another match until we come back in January, where they will play Kennedy, who before today was also undefeated, so that'll be a great match. On Thursday, the Marshalltown Rocky League team will be playing Urbandale to round out the calendar year, so make sure you come back and join us for that. Thanks again to our sponsors, and thank you all for joining us.